Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Dirty and Driven Podcast. I'm accompanied by the beautiful voice of Hank Williams this fine morning.
And the show don't look
Junior.
like cowboy boots.
Okay, that's enough of that. My name is James Deviney, and I had to pause that right then to avoid certain laws and restrictions of licensing. This is the Dirty and Driven Podcast, or we might be a little bit of dinosaurs ourselves. I don't know. Our goal here is to bring people to the blue-collar world, teach them how to kick ass. Our mission here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hardworking people in the blue-collar world. And we do that through entertain. As always, I'm joined by the talented, flame-resistant KCD.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man.
It feels good to be in here, just me and you. It's been what, almost a month since just you and me were in the studio.
Yeah, somebody was limousine riding, jet flying, whatever Ric Flair says.
Yeah.
High flying, diamond wearing.
Yeah. I was wearing my diamonds and riding around in my limousines and private jets.
And what did Ric Flair call his shoes?
I don't know. Did you know that people are using the word glizzy as for hot dog now?
Glizzy?
Glizzy, dude.
Is it inspired by Lizzo? I'm serious.
I don't know, dude. The other day, I learned this at church. They were playing out this game for the youth, and this girl was making a flyer or something like that, and it said glizzy in a cup. I was like, what the heck is that? And they were like, it's where you throw hot dogs in a cup. I was like, why are you calling it glizzy in a cup? That sounds disgusting.
Oh, dude, I got to look it up, man.
And she was like, it's what people are calling hot dogs. I was like, glizzy? Nah, dude. I guess that's a word. That's a thing. That's what the kids are saying nowadays.
Glizzy has multiple meanings. Hot dog, a slang term for a hot dog, especially in Washington, D.C. area. The term is thought to have originated in the early 2000s and became popular in the early 2020s. The term may have come from the idea that a hot dog is about the same length as the extended magazine of a pistol.
What?
That's what it just said. Originally used to refer to a Glock handgun. The term may have come from the rap world. Here we go. Then it has a sexual innuendo, so I don't know if we need to read into that one.
I think that one's pretty obvious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't need to read that one. we're trying to make this be the hitter of an episode, so.
Yeah, guys. So if this is your first time listening, we don't just talk about hot dogs, although that is a main common topic of this show. Typically conies, more specifically conies from Sonic, foot-long conies. But we're not talking about conies today. We're not talking about glizzies. We're not talking about glizzying. We're not talking about hot dogs. We're not talking about Lizzo. We're actually going to be talking about the fun deal of whether you should go to college, not college, push your kid towards college, not push them to college, or just kind of some routes that a kid can take to kind of figure out his options. You know, there's a lot of aimless kids out there right now that don't know what they want to do. It's now pushing not quite February, but it's what, mid-January? Yeah. So, it's getting to that point where kids are starting to go, shoot, I am almost out of high school, or I'm almost out of college, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life here in a few months. And they just have no direction. So we want this to be an episode that you can show your kids or show your family, show, your friends, and say, or if you're just a parent, that can kind of guide you, hopefully, to pushing them in the right direction. That's our goal here. Anyways, that's going to be today's topic whenever we get to it. But we got some pressing updates before then. First of all, I want to say thank you for listening to the Dirty and Driven Podcast. we got a tip in the tip jar the other day. I can't get my phone to load right now, so I can't shout you out, but I really appreciate you, brother. It was like a $20 tip. That really helps us out. Anytime you guys give us anything, that just helps us keep this mission growing and the show growing. We've had a great last couple months as far as listeners go. We've been growing, and I appreciate you all for that, especially dropping down to 1 episode a week. It's been really awesome and well received, and we super appreciate that. Everybody's been reaching out and saying, hey, keep it up. This is a time consuming, hard deal to do sometimes. And sometimes you just want to throw in the towel on it because it's tough, but you guys are what keep us going. And we really appreciate anytime you leave a 5-star review on the show, whether it be on Spotify or Apple. That means the world to us. And it's free to you to do that. It just takes a few seconds, and it really helps us grow our mission. Anytime you guys share it to your Instagram stories, there's some of y'all that share it every episode, and I could not be more thankful for you individuals, and some that share most. I couldn't be more thankful for you. So keep that up. And as always, if you want a free sticker, shoot us a DM, and I will get one to you with a handwritten thank you letter at some point.
Yeah, and we're breaking the mold of not only being just a shower or a grower. We can do both. We can be both showers and growers.
Yeah, we are showers and growers.
And the numbers point to it and via the show. So,
yes. So thank you guys. It's going to be awesome. We've had so many guests reaching out to us wanting to be on, some repeats, some new. So we're going to get organized, and we're going to figure out when and how to get everybody on. But man, it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited just for what we have coming with the show. The newer, 1 a week format where sometimes me and Casey, sometimes we got a guest, whatever. It's pretty cool. We're going to have some awesome people coming on. And today's topic was inspired by our guest last week, Bob Moffitt, and our guest a few weeks before that, Ian Freeman. And then, but we'll get into all that good stuff. Anyways, other pressing stuff, dude. You finally got your tortoise unburied. Walk us through that situation, man, because I had multiple people hit me up and be like, has Casey found his tortoise? And just tell the people what was going on there if they missed that episode, and then let's just fill them in on what happened.
All right, we have an African sulcata tortoise or spurred tortoise, and the living conditions are normally in a hotter climate. Well, it's kind of like the old adage that if you know a cold winter's coming, you chop up wood for the winter.
Yeah.
Well, this tortoise named Osiris, he digs his den not only to protect himself from the super duper hot sun and have like a moist, cool area to go hang out during the heat of the summer. He also digs this den just in case if it gets super duper cold out. So he was chopping wood all summer, digging his den. Well, when the cold weather came, he was deep down in the den, and his den not only vertically down, if you were to dig vertically down, is that right? Vertical down?
Vertically down, yeah.
Or is
like
vertical
straight down? Yeah.
Okay, but is that called vertical down, or?
I think so.
I mean, is that a good question? Because normally vertical is from the ground up.
I would think down vertically. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I've never really pondered that thought.
Yeah. So not only down, but normally it'd probably be 5 or 6 foot is the normal. Well, he was back a heck of a lot farther. He ended up being back about from where his entrance was to where I finally got him was probably about 14 foot back from where I just started digging all the way to the back. Well, I'd gotten halfway the other day whenever I initially tried to unearth him, and I couldn't find him. I was like, crap, dude, this is going to be a lot more work. And I only dug about 7 horizontal feet and about 5 foot down, and I still couldn't see him back in his den wherever he was. So I gave up. Well, with this cold weather that just came again, I decided I've got to get him out before it hits literally zero degrees outside like it is now. So I'd had an endoscope that I'd bought to do like some camera work to look inside of sewers and stuff. So
Did you buy it so you could do proctology?
Yeah, it could be used for that also. But I was like, dude, I've got this camera, and since he's so far back in there, because I don't want to keep digging all of this sand and dirt out and him still be another 20 foot back. Yeah, at least hopefully I can find him and then pinpoint him, right? So I tried sticking that endoscope in one night, and it was floppy. It wasn't quite working. So I was like, the heck with it. The next day, I went and got me a spotlight. I got down on all fours, down in my ditch, which I probably shouldn't have, but I looked back, and I could see him probably about another 7 foot back from where I'd previously dug. And he was up kind of against the wall back there, about 7 foot back. End up going and pretty much pothole digging right where he was at. It was probably about 6 or 7 vertical feet. It was 6 or 7, I'm not going to say vertical, 6 or 7 feet down into the ground. Yeah. And you got to realize when you're digging 6 or 7 feet down, you've got to dig a big old slope just to be able to get 7 foot down. It's not like you can just dig a hole straight 7 foot down.
Yeah, did you have proper benching?
Yeah, benching and sloping and all that. No, I didn't have the 2 to 1 or the 1 to. Is it 2 to 1 or 1 to 2?
2 to 1.
Yeah,
1 to 2 would be backwards.
Or 1 to 2. I know that's.
Yeah, you dug it the opposite. It's just a triangle going down.
I could see them, doing like the incident report, and
he had a 2 to 1 vertical slope. Oh, dude,
he had
that
it
was
backwards.
supposed to be.
He had the inverse or the converse of it. So anyway, I had dug down, and I got to him. Man, I got videos and I was trying to video and stuff. It was getting dark.
And this was shovel digging. This wasn't, you didn't have a mini X out there.
No. And I had to break through the ice, dirt, sand on top, or the ice, whatever it was. But once I got down there, I got him. So then it's not like he just comes out, because he's literally in packed sand, right?
Yeah.
And plus, fortunately, when I got to him, because I thought he might be dead. Fortunately, when I got to him and kind of did the old hit, and, kind of reaching down, because it was all I could do just to reach my hand down, just to touch him, because that's how deep it was. Mm-hmm. Right once I touched him, he hissed at me, which is a good sign. He did the old.
Yeah, how does a turtle hiss? Is it like a cat? Like a
yeah?
Or is it like
that's exactly how it is, just like that. It's just a and he draws in, with the strength that he has, because he's cold. He's trying to conserve energy, and he basically took everything in anyway. So I could finally just reach down into him, but I'm almost down in this hole, right? So I try getting the dirt out from out around his legs to pull him, and this is a big old turtle, so it's not like he's just going to come out.
Yeah, it's a 60-pound turtle,
and
tortoise,
it's already dark. It's already dark, and I'm already tired. And the deal is, I haven't trained my body to dig holes like this. Okay, so I'd already put in all of my effort to get down to him. You do it. I know
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
But here's the deal. I know you do your little marathons and your little workouts that you do and stuff. Seriously, you go and not train any type of shovel digging and dig like that. It's just a totally different workout on the body.
No, I'm messing with you.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be the best in shape person in the world, but if you do a movement that you're not trained for, it'll beat the shit out.
Beat the crap out of you. Yeah, I can run marathons, but I mean, you asked me to back squat, it's going to be pretty pathetic. How much weight is on that? So
fortunately, I just got to him, and I kept almost getting him out. All right, this is it. I'd clear out more dirt. Well, anytime you clear out more, and anytime he retracted in, more sand would fall in around, kind of fall in. So he was just getting packed in. I was like, crap. So I went inside down in that hole, believe it or not, down in the hole, it was nice and comfortable. But once I popped my head up out of the hole to climb out of it, I was already sweating, and it was, 20 degrees out with a north wind of, 20 miles an hour, right? Mm-hmm. So it was super cold. So you could see the benefits of, down in the earth, right?
Yeah.
I go warm up for a little bit, come back. So now I got to dig a totally 2 foot over and another 6 or 7 foot down in order to be able to get to where so I have to slope it, I have to redo everything. So finally I get down into it, and I finally do a heave ho, and all I could do, and I finally got him out and set him up top. I wanted to be able to video literally, but I didn't have a tripod. It would have been tough for a tripod to capture the down around angle like that. But I did put it on a.
You needed a hat mounted GoPro is what you needed.
Yeah,
that's what you needed.
No, and when I was doing it, I was thinking. Now I about did like a.
You're like, I'm doing all this and I can't even get it for the gram, dude.
No, seriously. I mean, I have a face for radio, right? So
I don't know. Actually, to that point, Colton McCormack just messaged me while we were recording. I sent him a Snapchat of us recording, and he said that you're very attractive.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
At least there's one out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Colton thinks so.
Well, dude, I was seriously thinking, and I'm not this type of person. I was thinking this would have been the best Instagram live or Facebook live, because I didn't know if it was going to take me 20 minutes or 3 hours, but I had to get this mission done because what was happening was I was exposing him to the elements.
Right.
He was protected, right? Mm-hmm. But now that I've exposed the element, now all of that work that he's done is all for naught because it's getting down to 0 degrees that night.
Right.
I knew I had to get him out, but I didn't know how long. So it would have been a real cool deal to document, like for people, you know.
You should have called your boy.
Oh,
Who?
Who, you?
Yeah.
Oh, to come out?
Yeah. I'd come out and film that, dude. I got all the stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, man. I got to get crap done. It's got to get done now. Anyway, we were able to get him out, put him down in my shop, which has heat. I put him in an igloo doghouse, got him carpet, and I actually have a UV light right now because kind of after the fact, you learn a lot about what you're supposed to do for these animals. And I found out that these soul-coated turtles do not hibernate.
Oh.
And preferably it's 50 degrees and above, which I did other research also. And even in the state of Minnesota, they say if you dig 6 feet down, even during the winter, 6 feet down, it should be a constant 50 degrees. And that's in Minnesota. If you go to Houston, I think they said Houston 6 or 8 feet down is a 70-degree soil temperature down there. To my point, he probably would have been fine the whole winter. But man, it's that, what did we talk about the other day?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, yeah. Peace of mind knowing that, because whenever I initially saw him back there, he wasn't laying like stomach belly down in his den. He was laying like on the side of the wall, like,
oh, what?
Yeah, he was on the side of the wall like Spider-Man, or how they grab onto the side of the wall. That's how he was laying. But he had dug himself kind of right there like that.
That's weird. Why would he want to lay like that?
I don't know, man. I don't speak tortoise, so.
You're not a tortoise whisperer?
Yeah, but anyway, he's doing good.
Yeah.
He's in a climate-controlled area now. Gave him some celery the other day.
Yummy.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. I got off the phone with Victoria. Whenever you called me and you're like, I got him out, I was like, dude, that's awesome. And I got off the phone and I just looked at Victoria because she was in the room too. And I said, this is why I love my life, man. I said, most people don't have friends that are calling them to let you know that they got their 60-pound tortoise out of an 8-foot hole or whatever. I said, this is awesome. I thoroughly enjoy stories like this from people.
Yeah. So, and when I got him out of the hole, I'd already had my wheelbarrow there from the previous attempt to get him out. Mm-hmm. Well, the wheelbarrow had a flat on it. It's a slow leaker.
Classic.
So, and plus it was so flat. It was one of those flats to where it was flat. It's not like the tire was still round flat. Mm-hmm. It was flat on one area. So crap, I couldn't roll him back because, if you carry him just regular like this, it's a workout. So I ended up picking him up like a bundle of shingles and I put him on my right shoulder, kind of like the old boom box that they did in the 80s before you started breakdancing.
And you were like, yeah, I have trained for this.
Yeah. No, I had, man. That was old hat right there.
Yeah. So, that's funny, dude.
Yeah, I'd say he's 60, 70, 80 pounds, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's a big turtle.
Yeah,
tortoise.
So we're happy now. Oh, and on a side note, our pig, Porky, potbelly pig. I didn't know this. My wife noticed the other day, but they have tusks that grow out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You've seen boars.
Yeah.
They have tusks that grow out. Well, one of them is good. It kind of curls up, but the other one I didn't notice. But the other one is growing up and it's curling back into his cheek. It's kind of like long fingernails, but it's curling back into his cheek.
Yeah.
To where it's probably painful for him. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to our vet across the bridge, and they don't do like large farm animals.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of the college, Stillwater, OSU's vet clinic.
Yeah.
And we're taking Porky in this Wednesday to they're gonna have to sedate him, but they'll put him under, but they're gonna trim that thing up and look him over.
Interesting.
And it's for a fair price too. I think like less than a couple $100.
Yeah, because it's probably just students learning.
Yeah, dude, if anybody's familiar with Oklahoma, man, the OSU vet hospital is, Man, it's world class. I took my dog Hank, R.I.P. I took my dog Hank back in the day. He got super duper skinny and he was throwing up food. He couldn't process food through his whole system.
Mm-hmm.
End up taking him down there. And when you go into that place, it's like you're going into a human hospital.
Oh,
They have
really?
a person, they take notes and they have, you know, the, what's it called? Who's the person that looks at the x-rays?
Radiologist.
Yeah, radiologists. Then they have the doctor. They have the surgeons. I mean, they have every single thing like you would at a real hospital, but down there.
Mm.
But sure enough, they said that there was a spot in his intestine that had died.
Ooh.
That the blood flow just stopped working, so food couldn't move on through it. So the plan was to cut out that like 12-inch section of intestine, put it together, and sure enough, I go, well, how confident are you with this surgery? We're 100% confident it's going to fix him. Are you really? Yeah, because I was so sad. It was during Christmas. Times were tough.
Oh.
And sure enough, he came out and he was good ever since. And that was when he was little. So
We had a dog, Wendy. We had 2 golden retrievers, Peter Pan and Wendy. And Wendy was kind of this fat bastard, and she was a good dog, man. Pete was he was a lot, but Wendy, great dog, big old. You know, like you've seen Daisy, my golden retriever.
Oh, yeah.
Now she's skinny, small. She's 50 pounds.
dainty.
You know, she's a small little golden retriever. Wendy was probably like 110 pounds, like just big old fat.
Haas.
Big old fat dog. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like whenever you think of like just golden retriever, that's what you think of. Just a big old fat, fluffy.
She had big hips.
Yeah, yeah. And she got in dude, she was notorious for getting in the trash. Like Daisy never gets in the trash, which is awesome. Perfect. But only dog I've ever had that does that. But Wendy got in there and she ate a corn cob holder. Like,
Oh, no
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
The little pokey.
yeah, little pokey ones.
Mm.
And she swallowed that, and of course it screwed her up, and they took her and did that. Did I ever tell you about my friends in California that are big cat vets?
Mm-mm.
Dude, I use the word friend loosely. I met him twice.
Acquaintance.
Yeah. Like I met him twice. Like I bet if I really wanted to, I could probably get a hold of him, hit him up. Like I've gone scuba diving with them twice.
Right.
And dude, they are big cat vets. Some of the only ones in the nation that they're like tigers,
Right.
leopards, cheetahs.
Ligers.
She showed me at ligers. Yeah, pretty much my favorite
What?
animal.
Hey, what'd you say?
Liger.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much my favorite animal. Dude, like there's one day she's like, here's a picture of me doing an operation on a hippopotamus's spine. It was like a freaking, you talk about needing a trench box. It was like the back of a hippopotamus, like, you know, this deep down in there. And you just see his vertebrae and you're like, whoa.
Do they have an Instagram account?
No.
That'd
I
be
wish.
sweet if they did.
Dude, the pictures that they've showed me, like just in person,
Yeah.
is incredible.
Hmm.
And like she's told me all these stories. Anyways, I don't know how I know how we got on it, but yeah, veterinarian stuff. I don't know. It's cool. Big tiger veterinarians, really cool. Apparently, Oklahoma is one of the top states to have tigers, which we got Joe Exotic, but evidently there's a lot of tiger. I don't know if poaching's the right word, but basically illegally owning a tiger. This is a good state for it. I'm assuming the drugs. I mean, if you're a drug dealer, I feel like having a tiger is kind of like if you're a big drug dealer, like at the top,
Mhm.
having a tiger is probably
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
You got to have a tiger.
Yeah. Another episode, I'll have to tell you about another vet story. It's a good one. But on a separate note, when you talked about your dog swallowing the corn holder deals,
Yeah.
there was a guy that he used to be a contractor out where I work. Well, a lot of times it's tough to have contractors that travel on the road away from their families that don't have some type of an addiction,
Mhm.
whether it's food, drugs, alcohol, right?
Women.
Well, yeah, whatever it is, right? So supposedly one night he got sauced up when he was on a job out of town. Big time fisherman, man, loves fishing, always has his pole and lures and stuff.
Mhm.
And I don't know what struck him. This is a true story. This is a true story. I don't know what struck him, but while he was in his hotel room, he walked up to his vanity in the hotel room, and he probably had 2 or 3 of the big sassy shad. If you're familiar with fishing, sassy shad they're swim baits
Okay.
where you have your lead head and your hook, whatever size hook. They were the bigger sassy shad that you would use for catching striper.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 3 or 4 inch sassy shads. You know, they're swim baits, so they're, you know, rubbery and stuff. With the hooks, he swallowed, I think it was 3 of those sassy shad.
The dude did?
Yes, with the hooks. Literally, the baits, he swallowed them.
Dude, how drunk was this guy?
Obviously drunk enough to swallow those things and get him hooked up inside of his whole system. Woke up gagging in the middle of the night. They end up rushing him in. By the time they figured out and they did x-rays, you know, with the radiologists, you know, when they looked at the x-rays, they realized that, and they cut him open. I don't remember how long he was in the hospital. He survived. He's still here today, but you believe that shit?
That's wild,
Or
dude.
that crap?
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, dude.
And
it probably wasn't even a dare. You know what I mean? It was just stupid.
yeah, first of all, I wouldn't eat a shad. I wouldn't just swallow a shad. But man, that's wild. It's like the Seinfeld episode. Kramer goes, he's like, hey, anytime you're at a party, especially like Jerry was going to a doctor's party and Kramer's like, we gotta go, Jerry. He goes, anytime you're at a party, if you can find a proctologist, that's the coolest guy in the whole place. And he's like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, man, you get a couple drinks in him and all of a sudden HIPAA means nothing. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
He's like, for 1 second, he's telling you how he's just some boring doctor. The next thing he's telling you is that somebody shoved their world champion bowling trophy right up in there. You know, and just wild stories.
I've eaten a live shad one time.
Really?
Yeah. We were on a guided striper trip down at Lake Texoma. And the 3 other guys I were with, you know, we were throwing back some silver bullets. And about halfway during the trip, you know, we had live shad for bait.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think anybody dared me to, but I decided I'd be cool and picked up that shad. He was probably about a 4-inch shad. And I started tail first, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. And if you have in your brain what a shad would taste like, it's exactly what a shad would taste like.
Ew.
Horrible. Horrible. I swallowed it, though. Washed it down with a little Coors Light. No slowing down.
So before we ruin all other credibility, we should probably get into our topic.
Is it already topic time?
We're 30 minutes in, dude. I just think we're such storytellers.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah. So, anyways, what a segue, dude. I love it. So, anyways, we were talking about, you know, we had several things happen this week that kind of made me want to talk about this, but you know, we're getting close to the point where your typical student is going to start looking at what the hell do I want to do the rest of my life. And that's a tough decision for a lot of kids to make. And they don't have direction. You know, there's some kids that maybe they don't have a strong parental figure. Maybe they've never had to really work too much, or maybe they have a lot of options in front of them and they don't know what route they want to go. There's a lot of different reasons. You know, whenever you're 17, 18 years old and somebody's telling you, hey, in a few months, you better have it figured out, buddy. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's something that our society's put on these kids that's pretty tough. You're saying you're going to walk in what you want to do the rest of your life, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not what you're going to do the rest of your life. I just want to preface anything with that, whether you go the education route or you go the blue collar route. It's never too late to go a different route. If you get on a route and you say, man, this just is not for me. I mean, I think you need to stick it out long enough to figure out if it's for you. But if you get going on something, you just go, this isn't what I wanted. And a lot of kids do that, especially I think kids that go to college that are pushed to, like, you know, for some people, it's not even an option. Like for me, it was kind of an option, but not really. Like it was like you better go to college unless you have a solid concrete plan to go do something else. And so that's why I went that route, because I didn't have a plan of doing anything else per se. So, you know, but if I would have gone and said, man, this just really is not for me, I want to go do this instead, it wouldn't have been too late. I mean, a lot of kids get forced into that, like where they do something and then they're next thing you know, they're 25, 30 years old and they go, man, I really hate this and I want to change it up, but I don't know how. I don't want to start over. I don't want to start from the bottom. they get locked in by the golden handcuffs, right? So, anyways, don't think that just because you choose one route doesn't mean that there's not more options later. What's our disclaimer here, Casey? What's our disclaimer?
Ground chuck. I've always referred to myself as a ground chuck. I'm 80% factual, 20% fat. So,
Ground chuck.
yes. What do you?
Well, I was going to say, well, yeah, the 80-20 principle applies on everything we talk about.
Or and also 80-20 as in good intention.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. We're 80%
Mean
factual,
well.
mean well, and 20% idiots.
Yes.
Yes.
And understand context too.
And understand context.
If you take a snippet of ours and put it on TikTok, remember there's more to the story than just the 15-second TikTok.
Oh, dude, I love comments sometimes. We've had a couple educators on here, educators that work in the blue collar realm. A couple welding instructors recently. We've had people that were teachers and now we're in the blue collar world. We've had several people like that. You know what I mean? So, this is a topic that we're excited to talk about. But the other disclaimer, too, is I just want to say, before we even start, we are not anti-education. Okay, we are not anti-college. We are not but we are pro the best route for the person. So, like, it might sound like at times we're anti-college. Dude, I have a 4-year college degree. And as you and I talked before the show, sure, I could be in the position I'm in without it. But that college degree opened a lot of doors really quick for me. So I got into a really good position really fast because of said college degree. It started conversations, got me in touch with the right people, and it got me a good job whenever I was 21 years old for a lot more than I would have been making at 21 had I not gone to college and stayed in the same industry. So that's my disclaimer on that. We are not anti-education. I think it's just what is the best fit for that person. And then we're going to talk about some different options and ideas and things like that you can go. So I guess the first question would be, is college right for you or not? And how do you know? Well, I think it goes back even further than that. I think whenever you are 16 years old, or if you have a kid that's 16 years old, man, get a job. And I've said this a lot, get a job. It doesn't even matter what it is. Just get some experience working. Get a job for somebody else if you need to. There's some kids at 16, they're out mowing lawns and they're, reporting to their customers. And then there's some kids that the only work they ever do is they might rake their parents' yard a couple times a year and maybe mow the lawn every now and again. And that's the only thing they've ever done to make money. I would say get a job, especially like if you have a kid that's, real spoiled and doesn't like listening to you very much. I would say make them work for somebody else. You know what I mean? Go get a job, produce, have to report to a boss, learn to show up on time, have a job, learn how that works. Because there's so many people that have never had a job before they're 18 years old. And how can you figure out what you want to do when you are 18 years old? How can you figure out what route you want to take if you've never had any experience whatsoever?
Got to get your feet wet, man.
Yeah.
It was until I was at least 30. And I still don't even know if I'm doing what I want to do the rest of my life.
Dude, I can't tell you how many adults have told me that along the way. Like whenever I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I'd work for people and they'd be like I remember I was working for a guy that was 60 years old and he told me, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I was like, what the hell you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, dude? You're grown up. Like I didn't get that concept, but now I get it. It's
not that I would think that I have to be beholden to a certain industry, beholden like to the asphalt industry or something for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? It's one of those, I see so many cool things when especially with social media, all the cool stuff that's going on, that I'm almost like a butterfly. Oh, looky over here. Oh, I'd love to try this. I might get my, feet wet in this. As long as I'm financially supporting my family and, taking care of everybody and food's on the table, I'm happy, And
I think that that's a great point to bring up too, is so many kids, like the other day, I got to tour, and this is what really sparked this topic for me, is I toured every major education facility in K County, essentially, which is the county we live in here in Oklahoma. So I toured the Ponca City Public Schools. I toured the technology center that we have, which is incredible. That's where Bob Moffett from last week, he worked there for a time. Ian Freeman, that's where he works. You know,
A lot of good
facility.
people work there, man.
A lot of good people.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are actually legitimately helping the trades. And other stuff, you know, helping place kids into a different type of thing, or just teaching them skills that they're not going to learn otherwise. So that, you know, went there. We went to Northern Oklahoma College in Tonkawa. You know, we went to a lot of facilities and really got to dig in deep to, all right, what's going on in the education? Even went to some of the private middle schools and stuff like that. We don't have any real private high schools here in town, but private elementary and middle schools. Like, we even went to some of those schools and heard what they're teaching these kids. And it was just a really cool perspective. So I think that speaking on the education system as a whole, and then just kind of figuring out what we can do, like what, you know, in school, it is not a teacher's responsibility to teach a kid a lot of the things that, you know, people go, why aren't they teaching this in schools? That's not what the schools are there for. I mean, parents are there for a reason too. And I get that a lot of kids don't have parents that know much or that are very involved in their lives. And that's a sad reality. It is a sad reality how uninvolved a lot of parents are in their kids' lives. But all that being said, we're here to fill that gap as much as we can and help you figure out where you can go next.
But like Charles Barkley said, I'm not a role model.
Yeah.
So don't be leaning on the Dirty and Driven podcast to raise your kids.
Yeah.
Be there for your kids.
Why isn't the Dirty and Driven podcast teaching this? This is bullshit. You know?
Did you ever hear that? It was something happened in the probably early 90s, and they were talking crap on, you know, some NBA players or, you know, some celebrities. And finally, I think it was Charles Barkley that came out and said, man, I ain't no role model. And he's got a point. You know, when it comes down to it, the family needs to be there to take care of their kids, not some person on Instagram.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. And that's the thing. So, and that was actually, I kind of forgot the point I was trying to make, but one of the things like that was really a common theme is like, so our high school here is putting in a STEM lab, which is incredible because they're putting in shop classes.
What does STEM stand for again?
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But as part of that, dude, they state-of-the-art wood shop, metal shop, like some really cool stuff involved in this lab. But something that they were talking about, and also that the technology center in the trade school is really pushing, is like computer stuff, obviously coding and stuff like that. But esports is a big thing, you know. So now, like, there's all these.
It's in the game.
It's in the game. EA Sports. It's in the game, dude. That's
terrible.
That's throwback, dude. But like, yeah, they were talking about like, yeah, there's kids. You know, we're pushing this because like kids, you know, nowadays there's kids making 7 figures playing video games professionally. You know what I mean? So these kids now have like in their head that like, I want to do that. And it's no different than a kid that wants to go be a football player, a kid that wants to be a professional musician, an actor, any of the fun jobs, right? Like, I think that a lot of these kids are seeing this at 16, 17 years old and going, this is what I'm going to do, or a YouTuber. And they don't realize that you've still got to get a job before you go pro. Like, you've still got to have something. Like, you're not just going to go from 17 years old to 7-figure video gamer or 7-figure football player, 7-figure anything. I mean, you've got to have a plan outside of like your hobby or your sport, because I mean, and hell, you could get an injury or you could get, there's a lot of things that could happen.
What happens if you have your hands injured, if you injured your thumb, couldn't play that controller?
Well, yeah. I mean, you break your hand or something. But I mean, you know, still, I'm just saying, like, even if you're a football player or a baseball player, you're trying to do something, or you like, you know, you're a musician, you're trying to, you know, make it big as a rocker or something. It's a lot of work, and you've got to produce between now and then. Like, and a lot of kids are like, well, I want to be a YouTuber. I'm going to just start playing games and Twitch streaming. Dude, there's a million fucking Twitch streamers out there. You know, oh, I want to be a podcaster. Yeah, well, guess what, buddy? There ain't a whole lot of money in podcasting. You know what I mean? I mean, but until you get up to the top, right? I mean, it's like anything, but you don't just go to the top. You don't just automatically start making 7 figures doing this stuff.
Yeah, and on a side note on that, again, we appreciate the listeners, because out of the probably hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there to listen to.
Yeah.
For tuning into ours, it is much appreciated.
It is.
It baffles me too. I got a message the other day from a coworker that works out west that hit me up for a sticker and stuff, and I had no clue that he listened. And I mean, just for someone to tune in for their short amount of time and listen to us, it's much appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's awesome. I mean, our community is small and mighty, and, we're not, I mean, when I say small, I mean, we're not, getting millions of listeners.
It's perspective.
Yeah.
I mean,
you look at Joe Rogan. Yeah. We're not getting millions of listeners per episode.
We might be small, but for context, if you take that smallness and you compare it to some small hands, it'll look pretty dang big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You compare it to small microphones.
Yeah.
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 Small headphones. Same thing.
That's why you get that big friend to hang out with.
Yeah.
The 400-pound friend. That way you look little.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, I guess.
Yeah. No, you're right.
No, you hang
out with a big friend.
Or you hang out with a little person. That way you look big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although your stature is probably small.
Exactly. So, anyways. So one thing that I'm learning that we need to get into is we got to talk to these counselors, man. So I've got one friend who's a high school counselor here in town, and he's like, hell yeah, dirty and driven, get these kids in trades, stop pushing college so much. Like, we need to find the right spot for the kids that need to go. So I really want to make this message clear to high school counselors is you've got to place kids where they need to go, not just worry about the numbers of how many are enrolling in college, because at schools, and I don't know how it works, but I know that there's certain schools get certain ratings on how many kids get enrolled to college, not even necessarily follow through or graduate, but how many enroll or based on their standardized test scores and stuff like that. But I think that that's BS. I mean, I think that it's stupid to base it off of that, because I know a lot of kids that have gone to college for one semester and dropped out, right? And it happens all the time. I mean, most kids that go to college don't graduate college, and it's sad that they would go and spend time and money. But I mean, at least they got that experience to know that it wasn't for them, right?
Yeah.
And why couldn't we have had a few jobs, see if you're passionate about something, see what is maybe for you or not for you? I mean, go work at a fast food place, go do any of that. But anyways, get into these counselors. So this kind of ticked me off. I posted that picture on TikTok of Bob Moffat saying, man, I'm hacked off of these high school counselors. The next day after that show went out, my wife met with a group of high school counselors and a principal, and I won't say what high school or anything like that, but she was trying to push like not even a program, just like a group of us want to come in once a week and do a fun project with the kids. And they've been doing it at an elementary school, and it's great success.
So you're talking about skilled people volunteering their time to help the youth?
Yes, and money.
Okay.
Time and money.
This is good. Keep going.
Yeah. So they're wanting to go in, time, money. And these are engineers too. These aren't blue collar folk. These are college educated engineers, but they're wanting to come in and do hands-on projects.
You mean part of our community, giving back to the community, to the youth?
I didn't say our community, but
in general,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
in general?
yeah.
I mean, you'd probably get people in your community that would volunteer the time when it comes down to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Keep going.
I'm
Keep
just
going.
saying individuals that want to give back to a school system.
This is good. Keep going.
And they pretty much said, well, I don't know. What if we did it like a program, like an after school deal on a Saturday? And they're like, dude, you're going to get the same kids that go to everything already. Like, you're going to already get the overachievers show up. You're not going to get the kid who has no idea.
Yes.
The kid that lives across town, his mom has to bring him here and she ain't going to.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that kid to come to this. You're not going to get the kid who's too cool for school, but maybe if he got exposed to something that excites him, then he's not going to come to that on a Saturday.
Yeah.
We need to do it. We want to do it in class, just in somebody's math class, in somebody's English class. Like, just, let us have a minute to once a month to do a project with them. Well, how about you guys just come and eat lunch with them? Dude, have you ever tried to go eat lunch with a bunch of high schoolers? Especially whenever you don't know them?
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's brutal. Like, they do not want to talk to you. So it was very disheartening to hear that because, like, you know, one of them, you know, he was kind of for it. He was like, yeah, like, I think that we need to show other options to kids, but other than just like college. But even this, like, this isn't either or. This isn't a here's what you can do outside of college. This is a here's cool shit you can do if you go to college and get an engineering degree.
Yeah.
You know, or you can work with your hands and do this without college. You know what I mean? It's for both. It's for everybody.
Yep.
And the schools were not very interested in it.
Well, just because you engineer it, someone still has to build it. There still has to be somewhat of a labor force to put it together. You know what I mean? So you're getting the full spectrum of maybe people do need to get a college education to get their engineering degree to build it, right? You know, to at least draw it up and figure it out. But then on the other end of the spectrum, if the kids showed up, they might be on the other end of that. Like, man, that would be cool if someone designed that bridge and I was able to, you know, help pour the concrete and weld it together.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like, it's exactly that. And why is that? I mean, you hear schools all the time talking about like, oh man, we need more people. We need more volunteers. We need more stuff. So now you get people coming in saying, I want to do this. Like this really, like I started seeing the issue with like what a lot of counselors, I don't even blame the counselors and the principals, dude. I blame the people that are influencing them. What's influencing their decisions?
Well,
you know,
that's,
they're being taught something else.
so me and my conspiratorial mind, which I always go that route, even though all my conspiracies come true.
Conspiratorial, that's a grammar dab. Good job.
Yeah. But a lot of times when you wonder why people are making these decisions, and this is me just spitballing, because that's all I do is spitball. It's a top-down driven deal.
Yes.
Right? Dude, why in the heck why is the border open like it is? You know, why is it, there might be incentive for the counselors to not support the blue collar trade or not support other avenues aside from, you know, secondary or higher education with the colleges.
Yeah.
That there might be incentive, you know, for their pay, or that's what they're being told. So,
and I think that there is, and I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to sit here. I never want to be one of those guys. It's like the schools are getting money from the state if they tell kids to, you know, I don't want to be that guy. And then they'd be like, dude, that's so false. Like that is not even close to truth.
Dude, same scenario with where I work at. Field operations, and I'm going to tread lightly here. Field operations, dude, why can't we get this taken care of? Then you go to supervision, and pretty much supervision, their hands are tied because it's being top driven from the corporate offices, and the field isn't really getting what's needing to get done.
Yeah, yeah. And that happens a lot, right? I mean, there's or there's a specific reason, and you just in the field do not know it, and it's a communication issue, right? I mean, I see that a lot. Yeah. You know, well, how come, you know, you're in the field and you go, this seems like an obvious solution, but there's actually a specific reason why you can't do that. Yeah. But it's top down, right? And I don't understand why it's not a deal. So like one thing that I was telling you before the show even started, dude, and I thought this was cool, but like that high school counselor thing kind of hacked me off, right? But where I see hope for some of this is we toured a college and we toured a trade school. Mm-hmm. Trade school said our enrollment is up. It's awesome. You know, we've got so many kids coming in here. Job placement is up. Like they're getting jobs. They're getting good jobs. Here's the average salary. Here's how much money is going back into the community from doing that, you know. And then you go to the college and it's like our enrollment's actually down a little bit. There's a big push of like, don't go to college, but you should still go to college and stuff like that. And it was like, you know, I was kind of smiling. I was like, hell yeah, trade school's up, college is down a little bit.
So the college said their enrollment's down?
Indirectly, yeah. I mean, they didn't specifically necessarily say, our enrollment's down, but I mean, there was things that they said that you're like, yeah, you can tell enrollment's kind of down right now. But.
Well, one thing that I think about too is the trade school isn't forced. The people who show up to the trade schools compared to, I'm not saying force, but let's say you got to go to college because that's what you're supposed to do. Your parents push you towards college. People like me, my parents didn't push me. I went because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to a trade school like at the Votech out here, I'm there because I want, more than likely, I guarantee you 97% of the people want to be there.
Yes.
Now, granted, you should have that same attitude going to college. You want to be there. You want to learn so you can, develop into a good person. But when you go to the trade schools, you want to be there. You want to learn. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
so that's a big deal. You're not forced into going to trade school. So you're actually there to learn. So hopefully you can get a job coming out.
Yeah. And I actually love what like Germany does. If, your freshman, sophomore year, they start realizing, you're not really college route. It's actually, you're required to go to trade school, So I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, I had something because I don't want to miss out on it. My friend, who's a teacher down south, who's a big supporter of the show.
Our boy.
This is what he's doing. So this is the type of stuff that it does, whether it's our show that's making a difference or just in general making a difference. Sent me a text the other day. He said, I just talked to some counselors and career planners in the district about having a blue collar fair.
Let's go, man.
This is what a friend of mine, but a big supporter of the show, one of the listeners, is actually doing also. And he's an educator. I mean, he is a teacher in school, but he's even, he even knows that everybody is not destined for college.
Right.
Ain't that awesome?
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm actually he sent me something the other day too. Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like one time whenever my buddy was working construction, he's told this story on the show before, early episode. But, he pretty much said, he was working construction, and I think he was actually on the construction crew that was remodeling this building at the high school. And this teacher says, you guys need to stay in school. You don't want to be like those guys that are remodeling, that building over there. You don't want to be like them.
The Anderson?
Yeah. It was whenever they're remodeling the Anderson building, which they're actually redoing now. But he's like, you don't want to be like them. And my buddy goes, first of all, I'm on that job. Second of all, I'm making more money than you part-time.
Yeah.
And you're going to sit here and I'm learning valuable skills, and you're going to sit here and tell me you don't want, don't be like those guys.
Yeah.
And he dropped out of that class, and he was like, screw this. He wasn't a studious student. But he owns a multi-million-dollar construction company now, and he's not very old. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's opportunity out there. But no, I want to talk to the kids that are interested in college. Like I said, I went to college, and my first couple of years out of college, I was very much under the guise of, I don't think I would have gone that route again. I think I would have maybe taken a different one. But now that I look back, I probably would have gone exact same route. Because, like, for me, college was good. I needed to learn responsibility. I needed to get out the house. And this is what I'm starting to realize with a lot of kids, too, is they stick around their hometown. They live with their parents until they're 20, 21, 25, 30, 35. And they live under that roof with that little responsibility, and they never get their back put up against the wall. Like, does that make sense? Like, they go get a job. It's a blue-collar job, but it's a rain day. I don't need to work, or I don't feel like going today. I don't need the money because, you're not paying rent. You're probably not paying for that much food. So your living expenses are low. So you don't care. You don't have, your give a shit's not there because you don't have to work.
Right.
And so, like, it makes it hard because now you as an employee have that leverage over your employer as far as, I don't need to work. I don't need the money. And that's the attitude of a lot of people. And I've seen it with 18, 19-year-olds that have never had a job before. They come and work, and then they literally have said that before. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't need this job. I just have it because, I have to have a job. My parents are making me have a job. And it's like, they don't care if it's a high paying job or not. They're just like, I don't have living expenses.
Yeah. Can you imagine if them at that age, because I guarantee you, hopefully a lot of them, by the time they get 30s and 40s, they look back and say, damn, I wish I would have had a different mindset at 18 or 19 with the old, man, I really don't need to show up today, or I don't need this work, man. My parents got plenty of money. I'm coming into a lot of money. Because I've looked back, I've always it's subjective, but I've always been a hard worker, and I like the old sweat equity. I like working with my hands for my paycheck, but I wish back then I would have made some smarter decisions. Sometimes there were rain days too that I was like, hell yeah, dude, I'm just going to kick my feet up. I'm not even going to hustle today, man, while it's raining outside when
haven't we all, right?
Yeah, we all, but man, just imagine if I would have applied myself a little bit more back then with that mentality, I might be further along today, at least financially wise, than I was back then.
Yeah. So that's where like college was great for me because it forced me out of the house. I moved to a different town. You know, I was responsible for my own schedule, and dude, I skipped some classes. I maybe called in a couple times when I shouldn't have. You know, I was, you know,
you moved to the East Coast or the West Coast because you moved away from home, right? You moved far away.
I moved a whopping 45 minutes away from home, but that's far enough. You know, it's far enough to get out the house.
Dude, back when I was playing ball, man, my long toss, I could throw 40 miles away.
Back in my day. I mean, but you know what I mean, man? Like, got me out of the house. I mean,
I was just messing with you, dude.
Yeah, like I wasn't living with my parents, and I think that like it's just amazing to even if you move across town, dude, just having your own set of bills, you know, that's big. And so it got me out of the house. It got me responsible for my own schedule, and I needed that time, dude. Like if I would have just kept living with my parents and working a blue collar job, I would have still worked it with my full heart and my full potential because that's how I was raised. But I probably also would have gotten driven crazy living with my parents still. But yeah, it was just one of those deals that going away, doing that, making some mistakes and not having my parents there to like back me up or, you know, have my mom call to fix a problem, stuff like that. That was good for me. And I needed that. And it really, doing that for 4 years was good. So those are things to consider, whenever you're doing that. But also I had a plan. I mean, I had one degree. That's what I wanted to do. I stuck to that degree all 4 years. And that's what I did.
So is this degree and this job that you have, is this something you want to do the rest of your life?
Yeah. I mean, construction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, construction industry. I mean, obviously.
As of right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I like being a project manager in the asphalt industry. There's been times where you get frustrated. Like anything, it's still a job. Like I was talking to a guy at a really badass company. I won't say who because they're a very big company. And he was like, yeah, dude, we have this badass facility, badass people to work with, top of the line facilities. And he goes, but at the end of the day, it's still a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that you have your good days and your bad days. And I've had days where I go, fuck this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also days where like I go, I want to do dirty and driven full time. And like I say that, I want to do leadership consulting. I want to do brand consulting. I want to help build up these businesses, but also I know that there's no better thing for me to do to help these companies out than to be a project manager. Because as a project manager, I'm dealing with all the issues that everybody else is dealing with, and I'm having to figure out how to solve them myself.
And how old are you?
25.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome for a 25-year-old. I know it's just a number, but still.
Yeah.
And don't think, and this is for people, I'm 47, so I could be your daddy. I'm old enough to be your daddy. But don't think even when you get up in age that you're too old to rebrand yourself and too old to make some money. There's quite a big list of not only 100 millionaires, but billionaires that didn't start making their money or do their jobs till they were in their 50s.
Yeah.
And I could do a quick Google search. I can't spit them off the top of my head, but it's never too late or whatever. Don't give up hope just because, I mean, I fall back on it too, dude. I'm up in age. If I totally quit this job and try something else, man, I'm too embedded in this job to try something else. No, it's the opportunity is still out there.
Yeah. And I do want to make this point too, because it's a lot of 30 to 50 year olds who listen to this show. That's our biggest demographic. I mean, we get some young hustlers that listen that are like, hey dude, I'm 17, 18, 19 years old, starting my own company or like trying to do some stuff on the side or getting in the industry. We have some of those, but our biggest demographic is 30 to 50 year old men. And those are the people with kids. And I just want to say, man, I know that you struggled coming up. And this is where a lot of people get in trouble. And this is where a lot of the workforce is starting to decline. Guys like you, for example, Casey, let's just using you for an example. Not, I know this isn't true, but like you go and you make life so easy on your kid. Then you never make him get a job. You never make him work. I don't want him to work like I did. I don't want him to struggle like I did. And then now they've never, like I said, never had their back up against the wall, never had to struggle. And then they get out in the workforce and they don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do. And I actually had this conversation the other day with a superintendent on a job site. He was trying to say, again, the whole kids don't want to work, blah, blah, blah. And I said, why don't kids want to work? I said, your generation raised us. And he goes, you're right. And he goes, I was too soft on my kids. And he goes, that he's like, I never made him work. I didn't, want him to do this shit. And I was like, why not though? You love it. It's like, you love this shit. And he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And, his kids are grown now and stuff like that. And, which one of them's a very smart going to be engineer. I mean, like, so he found his right path, and one of them, I don't know what they do, but he said, you're exactly right. And he goes, why didn't I teach him more? I don't know. It's just because I thought it was a hard life. And I said, anything's a hard life. It doesn't matter what path you take. There's no such thing as an easy life. And I think that that's what people have to realize is whether, going to college can be really hard. Especially depending on your degree and whether or not you want to be there or not. Like if you're getting a degree in international gender studies and you don't know what you're going to do with that degree and you're just stressed because you're getting it because you think you're supposed to get a degree, that's hard, dude. It may be an easy blow off degree. I don't know, but it's hard because you don't want to be there. You're not passionate about that topic. Or if you're going to be a mechanical engineer, an aerospace engineer, you want that degree and you really have a lot of desire to get that degree. It's still a hard freaking degree, man. One of the hardest ones. And then nothing's easy. I mean, if you go work a blue collar route, so many people, I hear this analogy and I like it too. And it's basically, you can go to college and you get $100,000 in debt or more. I mean, that's about what college costs for 4 years, books, tuition, room, board, everything. Whenever I was there, it's probably gone up even more. It's probably closer hell, I know some colleges it's $250,000 for 4 years. I know some colleges it's $200,000. I know some colleges $150,000. So, I mean, for me, it was $100,000 at Oklahoma State. You come out and if you're fortunate, you get scholarships or maybe you get some assistance from your parents, stuff like that. And you don't have much debt. I was fortunate to come out of college debt free. My wife got mostly scholarships, so she came out with only a few $1,000s in debt, so no more than a car payment, right? But a lot of people come out all the way in debt because they don't work in college or they don't put any money towards that at the time, and they wait until they have to. And I mean, I know people that are 50, 60 years old still paying off student loans. But also, what was their degree in? They're not using their degree at all or even the same field, anything, and they're working a job they could have gotten without it. So those are things to consider. And then, but people also say, or you can go to trade school, get paid to be there, get paid to learn the skill, and then, come out on top making more money than the college graduate. And that's true. And you can go do that. Let's say you want to be an electrician. You still got to go, and I would say you still got to put 4 years in. Whether it's electrician, equipment operator, anything like that. Just like you'd go to college for 4 to 5 years like most people. If you want to become a skilled worker and be paid like a skilled worker, a journeyman, electrician, plumber, HVAC guy, equipment operator, foreman, superintendent, project manager, you still go to school for 4 years, but your school looks different. You're running a shovel. You're running a stop sign. You're running, you're shoveling literal human crap out of a hole. You're doing that for 4 years before you can even think to say, all right, I want to be bumped up. I want a promotion. I want this. I want that. I mean, you might get it before then, but that's your degree, man. Like if you would have gone to college, you'd have been getting paid nothing to be there and you wouldn't have been learning hands-on valuable skills. Now you're out there in the field and you can say, man, I want to be, and you can talk to your bosses and you can say, man, I want to be a project manager in 4 years, or I want to be an estimator in 4 years, but I'm willing to come out here and get my education for 4 years from the bottom. And you can come out ahead doing that than you would have if you would have gone to college. So it's just, it's a different route you want to take. But I think a lot of kids that if they don't go to college, then they go work for a job like that and they decide, hey man, I've been here for a year and I'm not seeing any promise, or I'm not doing this. They've never had a conversation with their boss. They've never shown any interest in wanting to move up, and they've not learned or had any drive. Like whenever Herb Sargent was on this show, he said, I don't want a guy with 5 years or 1 years of experience. I want a guy with 5 years of experience. What does that mean? That means that you're just going through the motions for 5 years and you're basically 1 year experience. You're not skilled. You're not learning. Just like in college, dude, you don't pass the stuff. You don't move on. So these are things to ponder and consider as you are trying to choose your route. If I wasn't rambling too much.
Yeah, I say find something that you're passionate and curious about.
Yeah.
Let's say maybe if passionate is a tough word to grasp. I mean, I'm not saying like dumbness, but something that you're curious about, that you wake up and you don't dread going to work. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I dreaded going to work. I might have been tired maybe once or twice, but I enjoy going to work for the pipeline when I do that. But all of this maintenance and remodel stuff, I'm doing stuff now that every day, everything that I'm doing now, even to today, I'm at the last few days and going on, is something just a little different. It's a little different challenge for me. And it's cool. I do not dread doing that. Mm-hmm. So if you could find something that you're passionate, curious about, that you enjoy getting up, making a dime to support your family, that's the route to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say have a plan, whatever you do. And look, dude, whenever I say, get your 4 years, your 5 years in, I'm not even necessarily saying the same company. I mean, if you go to work somewhere, like I've had jobs where I loved going to work. I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed the place I worked for, but I didn't necessarily enjoy like that job long term. Like whenever I was landscaping, dude, I loved landscaping. It was great. I didn't want to do it my whole life. Whenever I was concrete testing, I loved working for the boss I worked for. I loved just getting on hundreds of job sites all over the state. I loved the connections I made, the stuff I met. But like if you have ever done concrete testing or soil testing or stuff like that in a lab or in the field, I always say I don't want to count to 25 for the rest of my life. If you've ever done that before, you know what I'm talking about. It's experience though. And it teaches you different aspects of the business. You might say, yeah, I like that. I love that. I want to do this my whole life. I want to start my own business doing this. Or you might go work for somewhere for 6 or 8 or a year and you go, yeah, I'm ready to try something else. I just want to get some different experience. I enjoy this job. I'm not going to burn any bridges. I might come back and work here again. I might join this industry in a different way, but I want to go try this and see what you like, man. I mean, I know guys that, they went and tried plumbing for a while and they did it for a year or two. They could have stuck with it and got their journeyman, but they decided, I don't want to. I've been an apprentice for a couple of years. I know I can make really good money doing this, but I don't enjoy this work. So I'm going to go be a truck driver. And they like truck driving. You can go and you can get your experience in different ways. And it may be totally different stuff, but you're learning different aspects. And even if let's say you start at 16 and have a summer job when you're 16, a summer job when you're 17, then you just keep having summer jobs. And then as you get older, you get, longer jobs, internships, or, you graduate high school and now you're getting full-time jobs or you're in college and you're still working part-time. Like you are still learning hands-on skills just from having these jobs, and you're learning from different people. You're learning different management styles. You're learning different leadership styles. And you're just learning different skills that you may not have learned elsewhere.
Yeah, that's well said. Man, I've never had a plan. I've had a loose plan at best. I might have written it down on a Post-it note, and then it might have blown. Whenever I rolled the windows down in my truck, it might have blown away. Mm-hmm. But what's helped me to where I'm at today, which I think for my household and for our lifestyle, I think I'm pretty successful for my house. I mean, yeah. I think where I'm at, this is going off pretty much zero plan. I just, instead of having a vision and this is how you get here, A, B, check this out, instead of doing all that, I got here a roundabout way. It might have been over here laterally, but I still got to this point. With that being said, I think what has helped me is like everything you just said, not be afraid to work, dip your toe in this. If this doesn't work, at least leave on good terms. Keep your options open, because although you might have had that paper route or you might have laid sod like I did whenever I was going to OU, that laying sod, although it sucked or whatever, it led to a different opportunity, selling vacuum cleaners. Although, I got bit by a Catahoula dog and it tore me up, and I was able to sell a Kirby vacuum cleaner to Toby Keith's mother and grandma-in-law, that I learned how to speak to people, and that led to different opportunities and led me here today. So just the will of wanting to work, put yourself out there, keep your options open. It'll do nothing but good for you and your family.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say on your story, dude. Like you didn't have a set plan. I mean, like me, I kind of talked to some people. I figured out, like, all right. I mean, whenever I was 18 years old, I said that this is where I want to be in 4 years. And that's where I was. That's what I worked towards. That's what I did. All my experience was towards being great at what I wanted to do. Most people don't have that, and I get that. You roofed. And then you did this, and then you did that. You tried college. You saw what you liked and didn't like, and it led to a weird, snaky deal. And now, it's where you're at now, and you've been where you're at now for a while. And you might keep doing that and doing other things, and you might be in a different spot soon. And that's cool too, man, as long as you're constantly evolving and doing what interests you.
Yeah, and we all know what's best for our situation too. Mm-hmm. The words of wisdom that James and I are talking out here, this is just from our experiences.
Yeah, everybody's experience is different. And, I do want to say too, another little hedge or disclaimer as far as like what we're talking about with you is there's some guys that they change direction too fast. They go work somewhere for a month and then they say, oh, this sucks, I'm going to go do this. And then, dude, I know a kid who's my age. He worked for us for a little while. Good hand, good worker. But every 3 months, he drags up and finds another job. And he's got a wife and he's got a kid. I think he maybe going to have 2 kids. And, they move and, he'll work here for 3 months. I don't want to do that. I want to go be this. And then he goes and does that. And he's, oh, this sucks. I want to go do that. He doesn't stick anything out long enough past the, whenever you go work somewhere, you have rose-colored glasses. Like, okay, like, this is a good place to work. I like it, but, and then as you work there a little bit longer, it's okay. I'm starting to see some of the holes in this place's game.
Then the honeymoon's over with.
Yeah. And then you get going a little more and it's like, okay. And then you get to that point. I mean, you have your days or your weeks where, oh, it's been raining all week and I'm not getting my hours. I'm bored. I hate working in the shop. I hate, doing piddly stuff. I want to go out and work again. Well, and, or the winter comes and it's slow and, I'm just going to drag up, you don't stick it through the shittier times. And if you don't stick it through the shittier times, you're not going to get rewarded in the great times, right. So you at least have to stick it out long enough. Now you can go and work for somewhere for a month, 2 months and say, I don't like the morals or ethics of this company. I don't like some of the things they do. That's a different situation. But whenever you're doing that, all the time, you go work somewhere for 2-3 months. Oh, the grass is greener over here, 2-3 months. Grass is greener over here, 2-3 months. And you've had 8 jobs in 18 months. That's not a good look.
That seems like what the car salesmen do here in town.
I'm sure.
They'll work 3 months or 3 years at one, then they'll piss them off. Then they'll go across the street, piss them off. And in about 5 or 6 years, they're back to where they were originally pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some industries like that, man, and I know them. I'm not going to call any out because I don't want to piss anybody off.
I didn't name names, did I?
No. And I'm just saying there's other industries that I could say and say that same thing about in the construction world, but I'm not going to.
The adult industry?
Yeah. The adult industry.
I didn't say film. I didn't put film with that.
The marriage industry.
Yeah. Oh, the adulting. Yeah.
Dude, there was a kid the other day whenever I was touring that trade school. He had a shirt on that said, it just had 1 out of 5 star review, just like 1 star out of 5. And it said, adulting, 1 out of 5, would not recommend. I was like, man, I need that shirt. But I don't know, man. I feel like that's I mean, it just gets people thinking. I can't tell you what path to take. Casey can't tell you what path to take, but we can tell you what has worked for us. I can tell you that, again, I'm not anti-college if you have a plan. My wife and I both have college degrees. My wife needed a college degree, and she uses her college degree. She does calculus at work. She's a nerd, but she does calculus at work. And I don't even, like, I got a C in both my calc classes in college. I haven't used calculus since I was in college. Lord willing, I'll never use calculus again.
Well, surely she's not doing it longhand. There's a little conversion deal or something. She can type it into it.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, she's an electrical engineer, so they do some weird off the wall stuff. Yeah. I mean, she is brilliant. You know, it's funny. I always joke with her, you know, and she is she's one of the smart. She's probably the smartest person I know. Honestly, my wife is absolutely brilliant.
Am I a close second?
It's almost a tie. But I always make fun of her. She'll it's just like her and I have such different perspectives. She comes from an education background. She comes from the background of, you know, you don't need a job. School is your top priority. You have to have straight A's. You know, her parents are German, and in Europe they are very strict about education, and her parents are very strict about education. You know, you need to have degrees, you need to have this stuff, and you know, you need to, you know, the more accreditations you can get from education, the better off you are. And I come from a family of, I don't care what you do, as long as you have a plan and you are reaching your full potential. So we have two very different lifestyles coming up, and she, you know, so she's very big on education and stuff like that. She works very hard at it. But I always joke with her, like, there's just practical skills that, like, she doesn't quite, you know, grasp sometimes. And she's gotten, I mean, she's picked up on a lot of them fast just since we've been together. But I'll just, my joke with her is always, you're very book smart, baby.
Backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
I'll do that with my wife. She'll say something that could have got a bad response out of me. And she'd be like, you're being quiet. And I'll say, well, I was always told if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Don't we all?
And I just leave it at that.
I do that too, man. I've learned my mouth has gotten me in trouble a lot coming up. And I've learned, you know, and her and I have been together a while now. And well, next week we'll have been together for 7 years. So,
and you're celebrating your 7-year deal by staying at her parents' house.
We're celebrating our 7-year deal by me going on the Certified Wrench podcast, baby.
But then staying at the parents' house.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, man, get a hotel room, spend a little bit of money, let's go.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not a guy that. I'm not. No, I mean, I'm not a big like dates guy. I don't know. Like I like going on dates with my wife, and I'm not a big like dates on the calendar guy. Like holidays and anniversaries and birthdays and all that. Like to me, I'm like, nah. You know what I mean? Like I'm thankful. But either way, we've been together 7 years. I've learned having a significant other is one of the greatest things that has helped me curb my mouth.
I thought you were going to go down the path of having a significant other helps, like, you stay on the right path too.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we were talking about, you know, getting yourself in trouble with your mouth. I mean, no, she's definitely, to get all mushy gushy. I mean, you know, she definitely is, for me, very strong influence in my life of pushing. And actually where she's really good is she keeps me from pushing too hard sometimes. And I need that.
Yeah.
You know, I need a kick in the ass in certain areas of my life, and I need to be reined back in other areas. Yep, so she's very good at balancing that for me. But you got to listen to him too. A lot of people's wives try to tell them stuff and they don't listen.
Well, I think it's good to tie it into the driven part of the podcast. It's good to have a significant other, whether it's your spouse or your kids, to keep your drive for hopefully doing the right thing, waking up in the morning, looking for them opportunities, and to just get out and hustle. Because if at least you don't do it for yourself, you do it for the kids that are dependent on the electricity being on, the heat being on, the food on the table. I mean, look to those that are around you to keep on the right path.
Yeah, and I think that a good way to kind of wrap this podcast up too is to say life is not all about money And it's not all about building something great and amazing. Like me, I want to do that. You know what I mean? Like I want to be somebody who's built something great and amazing and cool. But some people are really happy just kicking it and happy with I'm doing enough to provide for my family.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time with my family. They are my top priority. And that's all I care about. I don't care about, I go to work to make money to get, to give my family the necessities.
Yeah.
But I would rather spend more time with my family, and they are truly present with their families. They're not just like, lazy asses who, like, I know people that they'll work the bare minimum, make the bare minimum, but whenever they go home, they're playing video games or watching TV. They're not giving that time to their family. But I know guys too that it's like that, that they work enough to get by, and they're happy, and they're debt free, and they are very close to their family, and they've raised great kids. They have a great wife, or husband, on the other perspective. And it's like, that's awesome, dude. Isn't that the goal?
Yeah. I think the work-life balance, it's tough to figure that thing out. But when it comes down to it, dude, it's all about family and spending time with your family. If you don't have a good, strong household, if you're not there for your kids and stuff, then maybe that path for their future might be kind of gray. But if you're there, supportive, always be there, show that you're loving and caring, man, it's nothing but just a good ball of success for everybody.
Yeah.
Because like right now at my house, unfortunately, I had to do my podcast. But at our house right now, we have my grandson, my two granddaughters, the sister of my buddy, my grandson's friends, and his three friends. So we've got 4 boys, 3 little girls. The animals, they're all inside because it's 0 degrees outside.
8 dogs, a pig, a turtle.
But the beauty about all that stuff is I'm able to be able to support my family, to have snacks and food and whatnots and pops and drinks and play games for the kids. The little ball of love in our house, man. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And you're there too. I mean, you're hanging with them, and
yes, I'm going directly back there right now. And cool thing about literally it being cold out like this on the weekend, I don't feel guilty not going out hustling work. This weekend has actually been a blessing for me to like settle down. Hey, I'm going to be around the house and we're going to hang and kick it with each other. I don't feel like I need to go, run thanks to the sub-degree weather that's outside.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And that's so important. Like, especially as you're trying to figure out what you want to do in your life, is like, you are in control of your life. Like, I think that everybody needs to hear this, dude. You are in control. Like, so many people tell you have to get a job, you have to go work for the man, you have to join the system, you have to go get deep in debt at college, you either go get deep in debt in college or you go be broke as a blue collar worker. That's what we're telling kids, right? That's what the message has been for years. But now we realize that message is bullshit. I know a guy who's an 8th grade dropout and owns a giant concrete paving company. And I'm wanting to get him on the show one of these days. I know a lot of guys. I know multiple guys that are 8th grade dropouts that are multimillionaires in the construction business. And it's like, dude, you don't have to have it. And I know people that have PhDs that are broke. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you are in control of your life. You set your destiny, whether you want to go to college or you don't want to go to college. You are in control of your destiny. And whether you're 35 years old and you've been working for the same company for 15 years, and if you go do something else, then you're going to be broke starting out and not making the kind of money you're at. So you feel like you got these golden handcuffs on because no one else is going to pay you what you're getting paid here. Dude, you're in control. If you want to set up a life that's different, that's going to bring more joy to you, you want to start your own company, or, you just want to like work a different job where you're not traveling so much so you can be there for your family, or you want to go join a totally different industry because you're bored of the one you've been in forever and you don't love it and you're not passionate about it, you're in control. You might have to struggle and get gritty for a little while to get where you want to go, but there's never been a period in history where you can change direction so fast and find a job so fast if all you have is 0 knowledge but a hell of a work ethic.
Word.
Well, guys, where we're at, it is 1 degree outside. It is a negative 17 degree wind chill. Yesterday was 8 degrees outside. It's a negative 5 degree wind chill. I was out still getting mine. Went out and ran in this shit because I wanted to challenge myself to do something hard. So I'm going to encourage you that even if you don't do it outside, challenge yourself today and do something hard because, again, you're in control of your life, but sometimes you got to do hard things to make it there. So that's what I'm going to say.
By God.